Why can some people wake up at 5 a.m. every single day, while others cannot even stop scrolling on their phones for 5 minutes? When you fail to stick to a plan, what do you usually blame? You probably blame yourself. You think you are lazy. You think you don't have enough motivation. But is it really about willpower, or is your brain being controlled by invisible forces you don't even notice? Today, we will uncover the 8 hidden forces silently shaping your self-discipline. These are the secret drivers behind every decision you make, from the food you eat to the work you avoid. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which one of these forces has the greatest control over your life. And surprisingly, discipline isn't the first one. Every time you reach for your phone, your brain learns something. It learns that pleasure is easy to get. This brings us to the first hidden force, dopamine. Many people misunderstand dopamine. They think it is the chemical of happiness. But in neuroscience, dopamine is actually the chemical of desire and anticipation. It is about reward prediction. When you open TikTok or Instagram, your brain doesn't know what it will see. Will it be a funny video? A message from a friend? This mystery creates a massive spike in dopamine. Your brain loves this feeling. Because of modern technology, we are now surrounded by instant gratification. You don't have to hunt for food, you just order it online. You don't have to wait to be entertained, you just swipe your screen. Every notification on your phone is a tiny drop of dopamine. Over time, your brain gets used to these high levels of stimulation. It starts demanding rewards immediately. When you try to sit down and read a book or study a language, it feels incredibly boring. Discipline becomes harder because your brain begins expecting rewards immediately. Why work hard for a reward in the future when your phone offers a reward right now? But dopamine isn't the real problem. Your brain loves automation. Thinking requires a lot of energy. To save energy, your brain turns repeated actions into automatic behaviors. This is our second force, habits. Every habit follows a simple neurological pattern called the habit loop. It consists of 3 parts, the cue, the routine, and the reward. Let's look at your morning coffee. The cue might be waking up and walking into the kitchen. The routine is making the coffee. The reward is the feeling of energy and the warm taste. After a few weeks, you don't even think about it, you just do it. But this same loop applies to bad behaviors. You feel slightly bored, the cue. You check your phone, the routine. You see a new notification, the reward. Soon, this becomes automatic scrolling. You open apps without even realizing you unlocked your phone. When you fail to be disciplined, you are usually just fighting a deeply ingrained habit loop. You don't lack discipline. You repeat systems. You are simply running an old program that your brain learned a long time ago. But even good habits can collapse. Imagine trying to drive a car with half the fuel missing. No matter how good of a driver you are, you won't get very far. This is exactly what happens to your brain without our third force, sleep. Right behind your forehead is a brain area called the prefrontal cortex. This is the CEO of your brain. It is responsible for long-term planning, focus, and most importantly, impulse control. When you are tired, your prefrontal cortex is the very first part of your brain to shut down. When you stay up late, scrolling or watching videos, you are turning off your brain's defense system. This leads to decision fatigue. Your brain simply lacks the biological energy to say no to bad choices. This is why you make poor decisions at night. It is why you eat junk food at 11 p.m. even if you ate healthy all day. You haven't lost your willpower. Your prefrontal cortex is just asleep. Yet even a well-rested brain can lose discipline. Stress changes priorities. When you feel anxious, overwhelmed, or threatened, your brain stops caring about the future. It enters survival mode. This is controlled by our fourth force, stress. When you are stressed, an almond-shaped structure in your brain called the amygdala takes over. It floods your body with cortisol, the stress hormone. The amygdala does not care about your 5-year goals. It does not care about your diet or your study schedule. It only cares about making you feel safe and comfortable right now. This is why stress triggers bad habits. Have you ever noticed that you eat more sugar when you have a deadline? That is stress eating. Have you ever bought things you don't need after a hard day at work? That is impulse shopping. Have you ever avoided a difficult task by cleaning your entire room? That is procrastination caused by stress. Your brain is simply seeking quick relief from the pressure. But stress isn't acting alone. Your environment often decides before you do. We like to believe that we are in complete control of our choices. But the truth is, human behavior is deeply influenced by the physical spaces we live in. This is force number 5, environment. Psychologists call this choice architecture. The way your environment is designed will either make discipline effortless or impossible. Think about it. If you have a bowl of candy on your desk, you will eventually eat it. If your phone is resting right beside your bed, you will pick it up the moment you wake up. But behavioral design works both ways. If you leave a book visible on your pillow, you are more likely to read at night. If you put your running shoes by the front door, you are more likely to exercise. Willpower is a limited resource. If you have to use willpower just to ignore your phone, you will eventually fail. Environment beats motivation. If you want to change your discipline, stop trying to change your mind and start changing your room. But here's something even more powerful. People don't act according to goals. They act according to identity. Most people try to build discipline by focusing on what they want to achieve. They want to lose weight or they want to read more. But true behavior change goes much deeper. It is about force number 6, identity. The most powerful form of discipline comes from identity-based habits. Imagine two people trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, the first person says, "No thanks, I am trying to quit." This person still identifies as a smoker who is trying to do something difficult. The second person says, "No thanks, I am not a smoker." That is an identity shift. If you say, "I am trying to exercise," you need willpower to go to the gym. But if you believe, "I am an athlete," going to the gym is just what you do. Athletes train. When your actions match your identity, discipline is no longer a struggle. It is simply who you are. But this force didn't exist 20 years ago. But it is rapidly changing the human brain. We are living in an era where we no longer have to think for ourselves. This brings us to force number 7, AI and cognitive offloading. Cognitive offloading happens when we use external tools to do our thinking for us. In the past, we memorized phone numbers. Now, our phones remember them. We used to navigate by looking at maps and paying attention to streets. Now, GPS tells us exactly where to turn. And today, artificial intelligence is taking this to the next level. AI writes our emails, AI remembers our schedules, AI plans our trips, and summarizes our books. While this is incredibly convenient, it has a hidden cost to your self-discipline. Discipline is a mental muscle. It requires the ability to sit with a difficult problem, focus your attention, and work through frustration. But the more your brain outsources thinking, the less it practices thinking. If you immediately ask an AI to solve every minor problem you face, your brain loses its tolerance for mental effort. When you actually need to sit down and do deep, focused work, your brain will quit because it expects a machine to do the heavy lifting. And finally, the last force changes everything. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. You can have the perfect environment, great sleep, and perfectly managed dopamine. But if you don't know why you are doing something, you will eventually stop. This is our final force, purpose. Purpose creates intrinsic motivation. This is the internal drive that keeps you moving forward, even when it is not fun. It bridges the gap between the pain of today and the long-term reward of tomorrow. Why do you go to the gym when your muscles burn? Because you want to be healthy for your family. Why do you spend hours learning English when it feels frustrating? Because you want a better career and the freedom to connect with the world. Why are you saving money instead of buying that new jacket? Because the meaning of financial freedom is stronger than the quick thrill of shopping. When you have a strong why, you can survive almost any how. Purpose sustains discipline. It is the fuel that keeps the engine running when willpower runs out. None of these forces work alone. This is the great secret of human behavior. They constantly interact. They push and pull against each other every single minute of your life. Let's look at how they connect. Imagine you get poor sleep one night. Because your brain is tired, your low dopamine control takes over, making you crave quick entertainment. This lack of focus causes you to fall behind on your work, which immediately creates stress. To escape that stress, you fall right back into your phone addiction. Because your environment isn't optimized, the phone is always in your hand. This strengthens your bad habits. And the final result? Low discipline. You see, you are not weak. You are not lazy. You are simply trapped in a chain reaction of invisible forces. When you understand how they link together, you finally understand why you act the way you do. The good news is, your brain is not fixed. Because of neuroplasticity, your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on your actions. This means these forces can change. Small daily choices reshape your discipline. You don't have to fix everything at once. Instead of trying to become perfectly disciplined tomorrow, I want you to identify just one hidden force controlling your life today. Is it your sleep, your environment, your phone habits? Because once you change the force, discipline becomes the result, not the struggle. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more neuroscience and psychology videos that help you understand how your brain really works. Keep learning, and I'll see you in the next video.